Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to episode number 7 of the Young and Hungry FireCast with my homeboy Jay _Azeltine. What's up,
What
Jay?
up, Zach? Episode 7 already? Time flies when you're having fun.
Dude, I'm ready for 2 a week, man. I can't wait till Friday no more. I'm too excited. Like I'm just chomping at the bit all week.
Absolutely, yeah. That's something that Zach and I are. We've discussed it in the past, and I think that's something we're gonna make happen. Maybe like Monday, Friday, or something like that. It's just too much of a wait. 7 days is too much waiting time for the
Too much fire.
motherfucking Firecast.
Too much fire needs to be delivered, bro. Hey, real
Exactly.
quick, how about Michael Phelps like having more gold medals than like most countries,
That
right?
is greatness right there, man.
Dude's a savage. It all comes down to mindset too, man. He dealt with some adversity in his life and he bounced back. It just goes to show you, like he was in the limelight, dealt with adversity.
What kind of
So
adversity
from
to deal with? I've never heard of his.
he had like a DUI, like 2 DUIs,
I know the
and
bong story.
like gets caught smoking some pot. Just in the grand scheme of things, like if you look at the average person in the world, nothing.
Yeah.
But when you're in the limelight like that, and you're a global
hmm
figure, and you get caught smoking pot and
hmm
get 2 DUIs, you're kind of you get put on a little bit. So that happened to him, and so he bounced back from adversity, man, and just getting medals left and right, just killing it.
Dude, absolute baller. Like all the NBA players even show up to watch Michael Phelps swim. Like it seems like there's one person almost in every sport that kind of outshines everybody else, even if it's a sport that no one gives a fuck about. Like Tiger Woods in golf, Michael Phelps in swimming. You got who's some of the, you got like a couple tennis people, the Williams sisters. It seems like there's one
Yeah, I was
person.
gonna say them.
Tony
Yeah,
Hawk, and
Tony
skateboarding.
Hawk.
Like no one
Yeah,
gives a fuck really about skateboarding on a pro level, but Tony Hawk, everyone thinks of Tony Hawk, and there's like one person on each sport.
Travis Pastrana for dirt bike riding.
Yeah,
There's always this like I don't give a shit about like I used to play basketball. I still ball every once in a while, but I'm 5'6". I'm not making the NBA. So like, but anyways, I just never really cared to even watch. I skateboard watching it, but whenever LeBron James plays, I want to watch the game.
it's greatness. You're watching
You know,
greatness.
you're literally watching greatness,
That's
man.
something I've
That's just
always really respected, and just been very. I don't know what the word is for it, but it's just crazy to watch someone that's that great at what they do.
it's definitely it's almost like it's envious. It's like admirable.
Yeah.
I can really relate. I kind of like pulled it into my craft.
hmm
From like when I used to box and different things. Obviously, I had to watch great boxers, but just the mindset of great athletes, the way they think and the way they're programmed. There's a book on it. Nick Showman sent it over to me. I'll have it for the next podcast. I forget, but it talks about like basically the mindset of these great athletes, and everyone kind of thinks the same at this super high level. It's almost like entrepreneurs, like they all kind of at the highest level, they all kind of think,
There's a lot of
rel-
similarities across the
yeah,
board.
very relative. So it makes total sense. But totally, he's killing it, dude. He's such a fucking boss. I think he has 22 gold medals.
Something crazy like that. I mean,
It's more.
absolutely mind blowing.
It's more than like I see it's like 10 different countries. Like he's like has more than most countries.
Oh
So it's
yeah, he's
pretty
got more than
crazy.
like Japan and all of Asia combined.
And it's going to show you like the United States. I was seeing the medal count of how much further along we are than the rest of every
Yeah,
other.
what do you think? Why do you think that is?
Dude, I think it says like I think it really comes down to the level of competition at a young age here.
Mm.
Like I started playing t-ball myself when I was 4 years old. And I think a lot of people did. So I think the competition may be just a little bit better competition here in the States, and more. I think just opportunity. The opportunity to compete here. We live in the greatest country in the world, and you can't deny it. We really do. So I think that's what it comes down to. Just I don't. There's no statistic behind that. It's
hmm
just my own
Resources
personal.
too. Um,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
we have a lot of ability to. Well, I guess depending on where you grow up at. I mean, if you're raised with money, you're going to have the ability to go find the best coaches and so forth. But even if you aren't raised with money, there's always a way to seek out those mentors. And also, I mean, I feel like all the athletes around the world, the greatest athletes, they're attracted to the United States, especially like NBA, for example.
Yeah,
They steal all the greatest players from all over the world. The NFL too. I mean, there's no other football leagues across the world. You're going to get the best
right.
players from everywhere, and they're going to come to the U.S. to basically join those leagues.
And
That's
I
a big
think it
part
just
of it
comes
too.
from having our freedom, man. Shout out to all the military men and women out there, but that we're free, we have the ability, to be anything we want, really. So I think it goes back, 100 years from now, since we're free. So we have people who are able to create these leagues, these basketball leagues, and create these leagues, and then people have something to
Oh,
strive for, and the competition
it all
just gets
starts with
better.
that, right?
And it all came down to just having our freedom. So that's it's just super cool, man. I love I love the United States, man. So much opportunity. So it's
Fuck
awesome.
yeah, USA, America, baby.
And that goes right into our topic I want to talk about today is bullshit. You ain't got time. You know, we live in a free country. We have fucking 24 hours in a day. And I hate when people say, I don't have time to go to the gym. I would love to work out, but I just don't have time. I love to eat healthy, but I just don't have time to cook my food. Jay, what's your opinion on when people say they don't have time? You know, how do you react to when people say they don't have time? Because I know my reactions. I'm very like blunt. I usually tell them you're a fucking idiot. Like, Sam might like that's not enhancing the world, but it's just like that's just my pitch on it. Like, come on, you really fucking
Yeah, it's
have time.
frustrating when people say that. I mean, there's always time. Like we talked about, Zach and I were talking about before the show started. Even us, we're very efficient. We hold ourselves very self accountable, and we hold ourselves to high standards. But there's always ways to be more efficient. If you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, there's always ways to be more efficient. I could be way more efficient instead of looking at Twitter at times during the day and just scrolling through the timeline. I'll catch myself just nonchalantly like zombie scrolling through the timeline, like, and then I catch myself like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this
What am I doing?
is such a waste of time. So there's always ways to be more efficient. But yeah, I think it comes down to being self-aware. I've talked about this on Snapchat before. If you are a full-time employee, you have a family you're raising, and so forth, and you want to start a business, you have to be self-aware enough to know that you're going to have to cut some of your free time out or cut some of your sleeping time out to be able to put time towards your business. If you're a single dude and you don't have many obligations and your sole if your sole income is your own business, then you're not going to have to cut as much of the other things out. There's always a way, again, to be more efficient, and it just depends on what your end goals are. You got to have that vision and know what you're going for to know how much you need to work. But yeah,
Absolutely.
there's always going to be time to apply to whatever you want to improve on. That's just it's such an excuse, man.
I
And
think it
again,
rolls right into like we talked about that. We actually talked about this a lot. You know, whenever you came in town, sacrifice.
mm-hmm.
You know, you sacrificed a weekend to come in here and shoot content. I think some people aren't really willing to sacrifice their TV show they like to watch every day. They're like, some people do daily, like how we talk about daily habits. Everybody has daily habits if you see it or not. They're either positive daily habits or not even that they're negative, but they're just not efficient daily habits. A lot of people's daily habits will be they watch Family Feud every night. Like, I don't fucking know what people do, but like that's like certain things. Like I know growing up, I remember my parents used to always watch Jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
Like every night it was on. Like they would watch.
My
I
parents
think it's
watch
like
the news every night.
yeah, it's like you watch the news, so it's like an hour out of your day. Yes, you watch the news every night. The news ain't got shit good to say. They
It's
ain't
all
got nothing
negative.
good to say.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's all negative.
And I mean, just going a little bit rabbit hole on that. I don't allow that shit in my life. Like I don't. I'm pretty oblivious to what's going on in the world, and I'm not saying that's a good thing
Mm-hmm.
because it's probably not. But it's like all my information I get is through like social media, and I know you can only believe a quarter of what you see on social media, but I just don't even want to take in that negativity. I ain't got time for it. You know, I'm so just working on the positive momentum, and I feel like just even applying or throwing in a little bit of negative energy is going to slow me down. And it's like I don't think I'm the sharpest guy in the world, or the smartest guy, or the most luckiest guy. So any little bit of negative energy that gets
Mm-hmm.
thrown at me is going to slow me down dramatically.
Yeah,
So
man,
I
I'm the
just
same
totally
way.
avoid watching that shit,
I
dude.
do as well. I can't even stand walking through because I'm still at my parents right now until my house is done. About 6 weeks out. Super stoked about that. But
Dude,
even
this house looking sick, bro. By the way,
even
it's
just
so
walking through like the living room while the news is on, it's sickening hearing just especially Fox News.
of
My parents
course.
love Fox News, which is the absolute worst, and it just seems so negative. Everything they talk about is negative. It's very rare. It's like 90-10 negative to positive, I would say, what they actually discuss content wise. And it just, I mean, that really makes you think just negative all the time, not even just while you're watching the news, but it really just gets that mindset of just everything's negative, and you start to view the world that way, and
That's
everything.
the way that I was going to say.
That's
That's
your
the way you look at
filter.
the world.
Yeah, you view
Yeah.
the world in a negative filter, it seems like. Whereas if everything's positive, you start seeing things for how they are in a positive manner, and so forth. And there's always going to be positives to see in any situation. So I just try to stay away from it as much as possible, just like you said, man. And I honestly don't watch the news at all. I haven't been following the election at all, which, again, like you said, it may not be the best thing. I'm not recommending that, but that's just the way I roll. And it seems like a lot of high-level people are the same way, man. You don't see Gary Vee spending 2 hours a day watching the news. You don't see
Yeah.
Corey. Corey doesn't. Honestly, I've had discussions with Corey. He said he doesn't watch the news at all, really. He doesn't follow the election at all, which, again, may not be the best way. I'm not recommending that, but that's just what I've seen in my experiences with high-level people.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I'm not watching the news. I'm not watching no negative. But even like TV in general, like I caught myself the other day like Ashley and I, my girlfriend, we like to watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette. I think I talk about this all the time on the show. So they have this show called The Bachelor in Paradise. And we record it and we watch it when we want to watch it, but it's kind of like our time together.
Mm-hmm.
It's something we like to do. But at the end of the day, it's just like if I'm truly busy, I'm not watching that show. Like whenever I have shit going on, like if shit's piled up, I'm like, that show can wait.
You got to be self-aware, like we just talked about. You got to be self-aware enough to know when you're able to spend some time unwinding and relaxing, and when you need to be grinding your hustling your face off to get everything done.
So Jay, I want to get you to get your calculator out here because I know I'm not good at math.
I'm
But I want to
fucking
figure
terrible
out
at math.
the normal people like working a 9 to 5. So we'll say it's you wake up. The normal person probably wakes up at like 7 o'clock, 7:30, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get ready at 8 o'clock. They commute 1 hour to work. I think that's a lot. I mean, that's probably like one of the more maxes is 1 hour.
Yeah.
I'm guessing to commute. So then you get off work at 9, or you start at 9. You work till 5 o'clock. You get out of work. You get home by 6.
Mm-hmm.
Now that it's 6 o'clock, you have till fucking 12 o'clock at night to still get 8 hours of sleep. You get or 7, roughly 7, 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You can work now from 6 to midnight. You have at least 6 hours to apply effort to whatever your goals are. That's not even waking up early. That's still giving you guys 8 hours of work. Like where are we missing out on? What's going on here? Okay, so now let's go through a different scenario. Now you have to pick up your kids from. Now this is just a young guy like Jay or I, or kids in high school or college, or just starting out their life. You know, they don't have kids, but now you have kids. You have to throw kids in the mix. So now you can get up at 6, right? Get your kids ready for school. I don't know your situation. Pick your kids up from daycare, but there's always ways the kids go to bed. Now it's time to now you get 3 hours of work or 4 hours of work. If you're efficient, your 3 hours is going to be way more effective than a guy who works 8 hours is not efficient. Correct?
That's what it's all about, is the efficiency, right?
So you guys there's time if you make it. You have to wake up a little earlier. Like today I was up at 3:30 and I answered a couple emails. I'm behind on some emailing, so I got to answer some emails. Then I got up, I went and trained this chick, Rebecca. I trained her at the gym today. She's training for a spoiler race. She's killing it. Trained her. Got off here. Me and Jay got together on a call. Started bullshitting about the week. Now when I get done with this, how am I going to spend my time efficiently? I break it up in blocks till noon. So that's like even Jay, like I'll hold each other accountable. Like he'd be like, what you got going on today? Well, I got to do this today. You know, you got to also find someone who's going to help hold you accountable.
I think that's so key, accountability.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't have it yourself. Like that's like me and you were even talking about before the call. Like, yeah, dude, I slip up sometimes and I get tired and I sleep in and different things, and that's to be expected. But at the end of the day, I don't talk too much about like on Sundays or at least one day a week I might sleep 8 hours to 10 hours. I don't talk about it much because too many people are gonna let they get ahead. Like, well, if Zach sleeps this long, I can do that. But y'all don't see. I mean, y'all do see, but you need to realize like 6 out of 7 days, if not 10 out of 12 days, you know, maybe a month straight, I'm only sleeping 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
key.
it's trying to be efficient during that time. That's hard. Like we talked about the efficiency. How do you stay efficient all day, Jay?
Yeah, man, I think, like you said, efficiency is just ultra key, being all in on whatever you're doing, which we've talked about before. Whether you're with your family or you're doing your work, you need to be all in on that matter, and not focusing on anything else. Because if your focus is all over the place, you're not going to get really anything done. The book I talked about on the last episode 6, is called The One Thing, and it discusses the one thing on like a large scale in your life, on focusing on one thing, but also like the daily minutia of if I'm writing a paper, I need to be focused on that one thing, and I can't be focused on multiple things, because if I'm focused on 3 things, then those 3 things are going to get done half-assed. If I'm focused on that one thing, then it's going to get done wholeheartedly, 100%. You know what I mean? So whatever you're doing, you need to be focused on 100%. That's something I've been trying to improve on. Obviously, I'm not perfect, and I have a ton of stuff I need to improve on. So that's something I've really been working on, and just not letting any distractions get in the way when I'm focused on whether I'm writing up programs or, again, writing an article for my blog, or I'm reading or whatever. I need to be focused on that exact thing and not be worried about what I'm going to do an hour down the road or whatever else, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And especially like in both of our situations, we both have a few different forms of income. So I've been working on. I have a hard time doing that. Like I want to answer emails, write programs, talk to people on Snapchat. Like I want to do everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to like block my day off, like a block for this, a block for this. Is that how you're doing? Because I know you have like the real estate. You're building a house. So you're doing real estate. You're building a house. You're doing programming. You're flooding the internet with content. How are you breaking everyone up? Are you just like day to day, or you do block to block? How are you doing it?
For me, it's more day to day. I need to come up with more of a set. I have a pretty good set routine in the mornings. I go to the gym, I train, I usually listen to an audiobook on the way home. I come home, I meditate, I read. But I'm trying to come up with more of a set routine, scheduled time block. But as of right now, it's kind of, I know what I need to get done today, and I'm going to get it all done eventually at some point. And I just start with one task and work my way through it. But again, always trying to improve and get better. So I'm trying to come up with a more efficient way in the systems and try to get the systems in place and so forth to keep me more efficient. But yeah, right
The
now,
to-do
man,
list.
exactly. Like today, I know I need to build out a website for the Carb Life. I need to get the order finalized. I know I need to write up some programs. So I know I have all these things to do. So
Let's
basically,
talk. What about the carb life? I'm so pumped about these shirts,
bro,
dude.
the Carb Life shirt's going to be real. So I've talked about this a little bit. I had a local artist friend draw them up. So it's going to be super. Originally, basically, I just wanted it to be very cartoon-like, very original. I didn't want it to be anything that was going to look like it was pulled off Google Images. So I had a friend do the design. We went through a couple of different designs, tweaked it a few times, and now I finally got to the print people. I'm trying to figure out how exactly I can get it onto the shirt and look like it's hand drawn onto the shirt. So I had to tweak a couple colors, take a few things out, but it's still going to be ultra sick. It's going to be banana and peanut butter, the OG Carb Life for the first design, and it's going to be on ultra high quality shirt, which is a huge key, I think. I mean, obviously, I could skimp, I could cut costs on the shirts and just go ultra cheap, and I could go for that immediate gratification. I could still sell the exact same amount of shirts.
But you're not gonna get that second.
Exactly, delayed gratification. I know that if I provide a very quality product, a very quality shirt in this case, people are going to buy the shirt. They're going to be like, this is dope. And the next time the second design comes out, which will be a few months down the road, it'll be a donut design. Stay tuned. People are going to be like, well, I love this shirt. The quality is there. Everything about it's awesome. The design's cool. So I'm going to buy another one. If it's a shit quality shirt, though, yeah, I'm going to get the money from that first wave, but the second time around, people likely aren't going to order it. It's going to be like 50% of the people.
Dude, it's if that, you'll have like
Yeah.
your people who follow you close. So that's like whenever I was coming out with the Iron Valley Barbell shirts. Now I have my clothing line now, iveliteapparel.com. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's basically all my sayings, man, shit, win the day, but it's all quality shirts. So
Oh,
yeah,
they're so quality.
yeah, they fit real good. They're real gym shirts, but you can also wear them. Like I see people wear them out all the time. Like every time people go out, they're like, "Yo, I'm rocking the Iron Valley Barbell shirt on a date," or some because they're quality shirts. They fit real good. They're tight. They show off your pecs, your arms, your shoulders. They're form fitting. So quality shirts. If I knew if I would have got some Gildan shirts or some shirts
Some
from
Hanes
fucking some
bullshit.
I mean, I personally like that shit
So do I at the
myself.
gym and stuff too, but
But like, yeah, so like, but the majority of people though want quality. They don't want if they wanted a Hanes shirt, they would have went to Hanes, got the fucking dollar store and got a Hanes shirt. So
yeah.
providing the quality. So I think that's a real cool topic for us to talk about is the we talked about instant gratification, delayed gratification on the last episode, but the taking a step back almost like say you're making $4,000 a month, you're profiting in your business, but you have the potential. You have to make a sacrifice, but you have the potential to make 10,000. But you got to be willing to cut your profit in half to 2,000 to spend the other $2,000 on branding or marketing or ads, whatever it is, YouTube ads or Facebook ads. Are you willing to take that sacrifice to get you to that next level? Which a lot of people aren't, and that's something I'm actually doing right now, hiring a video guy. Content Joey. What's up, Content Joey? If you're
Content
tuning in.
Joey.
I don't think Content Joey listens to the podcast because he listens to me preach like 24/7. So I don't know. He probably don't even listen to the podcast. But I'm taking a step back. So actually, like we're doing the numbers. It's like when I do the numbers based off the website, Zach One Power site coming out, Joey would make more money than me from my site for a good until I get X amount of members. And it takes like you have to really let your ego aside when you're doing that. Like, hey. I showed him the numbers. Joey, here it is. I'm taking a step back because I know I'm going to take 10 steps forward. And I think some people aren't willing to take those 2 steps back. Like they open a gym, so they want to hire someone to clean. I'm on my hands and knees scrubbing the toilets, guys. You know what I mean? And my gym's profiting and I'm doing well. I can hire somebody, but I can still block myself off a half hour fucking a day to clean the toilets myself. Where some people get too much, they get ego driven, too much pride, and they want to like kind of subcontract out. Because I know we've talked about that, subcontract things out to help give us more time to free up. But you have to watch doing that too. You can't do too much. Like, for instance, Jay, you can't subcontract out everything. Right? If you're only making $2,000, you can't subcontract out $1,800 worth and not make no money, but it's a fine line of how much you're going to subcontract out to get you to the next level.
Yeah, there's a happy medium. And just like you said yesterday on the phone, Zach and I were talking about my Carb Life shirts and figuring everything out. And I was talking about sales and stuff that I project. And he's like, dude, don't take any money out of it. As soon as you make the initial investment back, feed it right back into it and start making new designs and so forth. So it's like just continually investing back into the business because you see that long-term vision. You got to have the long-term vision, and you got to know what you're working towards so that you can continually just reinvesting into it. And then eventually down the road, obviously you'll be able to profit a lot larger than you will right now. But yeah, again, just continuing to put
Yeah, like
back
Jay,
into it.
yeah, depending on your margins and stuff, like say a guy has a shirt line and he sells, 500 shirts at we'll keep the math easy at $10 margin shirt, which is probably pretty low for most clothing. What's that, $5,000? So he can get pumped like, yeah, I did $5,000, or is that am I right? Am I right on the math there? Whatever it
Something like
is.
that.
Who gives a shit? $5,000 ish. So no, sweet. I have that money. You can either take it, go on vacation, which is something the middle class likes to do. We've talked about that on an episode too. So they get money, they want to blow it. They don't want to. It's rich dad, poor dad. They don't want to invest it back into their assets. They want to put it on their liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of investing it back into the clothing line, maybe new designs or hiring new web guys, better designers, getting better apparel, or getting at a larger quantity because guys, it's pretty simple. The more you buy, the cheaper you get it, right? So now that he has that $5,000, invest that all back in, and you can turn that $5,000 business into a $25,000 business if the customer's there, if the quality's there, almost overnight. But a lot of people want to get that instant gratification. Oh yeah, I got $5,000. Let's go to the bar. We're trying
Exactly.
to
Or go on
avoid that,
vacation
guys.
or whatever.
Yeah, let's avoid that like at all cost. And I mean, Jay's obviously he's gonna freaking kill it. He understands that too already, and that's just something we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, man. So stoked about the Carb Life. Stay tuned. Probably about 3.5 weeks again. I'm trying to get the order in right now. I think it's like 2 to 3 weeks once it gets to the print. They're going to be sick though. And, again, I'm going to start out I'm going to have that website designed soon so you can go on there and order the shirts and so forth. So stay tuned.
How did you go about I know I get this. I get asked this a lot. How do I go about the process of starting the apparel line? Because at the end of the day, like Jay and I both, like we have like some mini connections, but we talk about just using Google. How did you go about your process of like starting it?
Well,
Like
starting
finding the
yeah.
designer, everything from
Well,
scratch.
let's start from square one because people always ask me, like, how do you get these good ideas and yada, yada, yada. It just pops in my head. You got to be a creative person. I mean, there's ways to spark your creativeness, I think, but honestly, like Gary Vee says, some people just aren't creative. Some people just don't have it. You know what I mean? So I think
Tune into Carb Life. You'll see Jay's creativity on his foods.
So it all started. The idea was when I was cutting for my first shoot. I had the idea pop into my head because I was following some people on Instagram, and I was like, shit, I could do this. I could do food reviews. And I was like, well, this will help build my brand on Instagram and Snapchat. I think this will be a good way to really start building the brand and so forth. And then they'll follow me for the food, but then they'll catch on to the fitness stuff. And then once I started to get that in my mind, I was like, well, shit, I could start an apparel line with this. If I really catch on the reviews, I'll start an apparel line, and it'll just go right on with it. And I think everyone that follows the nightly reviews will then start to buy the shirts as well. So I was like, all right, well, I need to start figuring this out. So I was looking for someone to start helping me draw the designs and so forth. I wasn't really sure what I was going to go with. And I was scrolling through Instagram one day, and I passed one of my friend's pages, and he had the sick-ass design he'd been drawing. I was like, shit, this guy would be perfect. He does the exact kind of designs that I'm looking for, a very hand-drawn, original, artsy, cartoony look. So I hit him up. I was actually introduced to him through Corey, so that connection came through Corey. Now he's a close friend of mine. Met with him. We started the original designs, and it just continued to progress. Like I said, we did a couple of different types of banana peanut butter until I finally got it how I wanted it to be. And now I'm hitting up the different shirt places, trying to get all the prices and so forth, and figure out who to go with. So just continual progression. But yeah, man, I think starting from square one, it comes down to having the creativeness and being able to come up with good ideas and such, and business ideas and so forth. Not everyone, like people ask me all the time, and that's a question I get all the time, is just how do I come up with these ideas? And it's like, you just got to be able to do it.
Yeah, like what do I name my company? Or
Oh
like
yeah.
just the littlest thing. Like guys, it's like it's yours. Like if you can't even figure out a name, like now don't be wrong, like coming up with Iron Valley Barbell, like it was in the air and actually sealed the deal, and I think I gave her a bone before for that. But it's like I had all these different ideas, but I really didn't give a shit about the name of it. Like at the end of the day, it's like I'm gonna capitalize. No one gives a shit about my name.
Yeah, the name, dude. People obsess over the name way too much. And I was telling Kyle met with me at Starbucks this past week because he's trying to start a blog and he can't come up with a name for it. And I was like, dude, don't overthink the name. Honestly, I think people, like, for example, Google, people think the name Google is so awesome, and Amazon, that shit, you know what I mean? Google wouldn't mean shit if it wasn't this huge search engine. Amazon wouldn't mean shit if it wasn't this huge search engine. Apple and so forth, they only sound cool because it's
It's
been
Apple.
it's
Like,
been
dude, this is
brainwashed into your mind.
like it's Apple. So like if we're sitting here, act like Apple doesn't exist. Like the only thing that exists is the fruit,
Yeah,
apple.
I'm gonna name a business Banana, and if it grows big, it's gonna be cool as fuck. You know what I mean?
Dude, like like scissors. Like literally,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna name this scissors. It's so funny. I go to this place all the time. It's baked chicken. It's super good. It's called Happy Chicken. And I asked the guy, I said, "Where'd you get the name?" He goes, "I just needed something original." I said, "We cook chicken, and I'm always happy."
Yeah, legit. People obsess over the name, I think, way too much. And they put way too much thought into it. Just pick something, go with it. And it's all about the content. I was telling Kyle this. I was like, dude, your blog's all about the content. People don't really give a fuck what the name of it is. It really it's all about what kind of content you have on there and how consistently you're putting it out and so forth. And all of that kind of good stuff. It really, really doesn't matter, per se, what the name is.
And sometimes the more cliche, the better.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's easy to remember. Like how easy is to remember Apple?
Yeah,
But if
just
you
pick
come up
something
with
and
some
roll with
like
it.
crazy I don't know underscore higher score like basically like crazy stuff, it gets too crazy. That's why it's Jay underscore Azeltine. We branded him that way. That's how we're branding Jay.
JY_Azeltine. That's something I've been struggling with too, or not struggling with, but something I've been working on is making a decision and rolling with it. Something I've always struggled with was kind of pondering multiple ideas and having to decide on one. Something that I just continually work on is just making a decision and just going with it and not continually thinking about it. Like, did I make the right decision? Or should I have gone with this and that? And just settling with it and fucking rolling.
Oh, you did a blog on that, didn't you? Like
Decision
it
fatigue.
says yeah, like something like if people make you're more likely to fail or something. You did a blog where if you
Yeah,
procrastination. You did something like procrastination, like a blog on it where um, you're more likely to fail, like in life, if you had to procrastinate over what you want for dinner.
Yeah,
Remember
exactly.
that blog you did?
Yeah, it's all about it was all about decision fatigue, and basically it's like if you spend too much time making small decisions, like what am I going to eat, what am I going to wear today, which route am I going to take to work, all these small decisions, that all the decision, all the mental energy it takes to make those small decisions is going to add up, and by the end of the day, basically you're going to have a hard time making the big decisions. Like that's kind of why people struggle on their diet in the evening. I think is basically what all the studies I read showed. Most people are really good on their diets throughout the day, but then at night they struggle with snacking and so forth. And it's because throughout the day they were making all these small decisions, and by the end of the day, their willpower. That's what I was looking for. It really decreases your willpower. By the end of the day, your willpower is gone, and you're just gonna be like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna eat this sandwich or whatever." So the small decisions add up, and it causes you to not be able to make decisions at the end of a long day of small decisions.
That makes total sense because that's something I'm really working on. Is my really honing in 100% of my diet, and it is by the end of the day. It's just like I think I've thought so much about what I'm going to eat all day, like my next meal and how I should prepare it, and how much sodium's in it. I'm kind of like overthinking it to where I have to get to the end of the night and I see that Nutella sitting there and I'm like, oh shit.
Well, plus all the other decisions. I mean, you're such a busy guy. You got all these other things during the day. You're trying to make decisions on what kind of content to film or this and that. So all that stuff, not just what you're deciding on your food throughout the day, just all the decisions you make really weigh in on you mentally throughout the day. And by the end of the day, you're like, fuck it. I just want to just eat something and go.
It doesn't make it any better when I see Jay with like 8-pack abs and he's eating donuts every night. I'm like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. but meanwhile, Jay's eating 100. We talked about that before. He's eating 100% healthy throughout the day. And
I'm back on a clean diet now. I gotta get the abs back. I lost them for a minute.
It's time, dude. Muscle Beach is approaching. Let's talk about it, dude. I'm excited. We're less than 5 weeks away. We're about to be shreds.
34 days, man. How crazy is that?
We're about to be in Cali, chilling on the beach. Well, we probably won't be doing much chilling. We'll probably be doing like a fuck ton of content, running around the chicken with their head cut off. But yeah, dude, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited for Muscle Beach. I'm getting dialed in. Of course, I'm using Jay underscore Azeltine for all my, prepping myself into the shoot. Again, Jay obviously did a good job of me last time with the roughly 10 days of dieting. So we're starting about 4 weeks out. I'm gonna be
peeled.
I'm gonna be peeled.
Dude, it's so exciting though, man. Like, talk about a date on the calendar. We talk about that all the time. It's the importance of the date on the calendar. And this is the ultimate date on the calendar if you're a fitness head. I mean, Muscle Beach, man, with Corey, one of the top fitness people right now, and just everything going around with Dustin, all the homies, and Reese, and it's gonna be sick.
Dude, that's it. I mean, Inside Fitness is shooting. I mean, it's it's like you can't beat it, dude. It's gonna be so much fun, just a good time. It's gonna be so good exposure, great exposure for you and I, especially in Dustin too, and I mean everybody, Corey, everyone who's involved. The exposure is gonna be great, but for you and I, we kind of have the smallest followings out of
Mm-hmm.
I guess the rest, as far as depth, I don't really know. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
the depth goes. I feel like I have a ton of depth and you have a ton of depth. But yeah, so like, anyways, it's going to build our exposure, times tenfold. It's going to be great for us.
Yeah.
It all came down to us putting ourselves in the right positions. We were there to get the rebounds.
Exactly, man. People will call us lucky, and they'll just see us at Muscle Beach with Corey and be like, "Oh, those guys got lucky. Why did they get positioned so close with these guys?" And we know why. We put the work in the
Yep,
past
I
and
know why.
positioned
Yeah,
ourselves in the right spot, but most people won't see that.
yeah, don't fucking try to discredit me. You know what I mean? Like Jay, like I know me and you talked about this when you're in town. We were just like, I hate when people try to discredit me. That fires me up. Like I've worked so hard for everything I got. I've stayed awake so many hours. I haven't eaten. I've put my diet aside. I've put my training aside to do things like I've always trained 7 days a week, but it's like it might have gone through waves where I'm trying to open up these businesses, and I've made so many sacrifices. If I catch a break, it's not because of luck. It's because I keep putting myself in the right position, time and time again. I don't try to discredit. If you see someone who's made it, don't discredit them. They've gone through a lot to make it.
Yep.
99.9% of the time, right?
No one sees the work that goes into getting you to where you are today. They just see where you are today, basically, and then they'll make judgments, essentially.
So how often do you hear this, Jay? Another thing, people will give you excuse. This kind of like the time thing we're doing, but people make excuses. I like to squat, but my back hurts. I like to squat, but I got bad knees or my elbows hurt. I hear it all the time. People are making excuses all the time to why they can't. CAN''T, but not making excuses to why they can. It's a mindset. When it comes down to it, guys, you can make an excuse to not do it, or you can find an excuse to do it. That's something I'm huge on with the guys I'm training too. I keep on distilling in them. I want 5 reasons why you can be successful in the gym. 5 reasons why you can be successful out of the gym. It's something I'm really trying to distill in everybody. Change the mindset. Like when you're looking, so me and Joey are going over things like looking for forms of income for him. So whenever I became in quote unquote my full swing of being an entrepreneur, I just thought like, how can I make money? And I started writing ways down I can make money. Like I could probably do this. I could probably do this. So I kind of did the same thing, mentoring him, bringing him under my wing. Like we're writing down ways he could potentially make money. We're finding ways he can. We're not thinking about ways he can't. Oh, you can't get money because you're not working 9 to 5. That's not the way to think, guys. You got to change your mindset. You got to change the way you're thinking. How can I make money? Okay, this is one way I can make money. Here's another way I can make money.
Yeah, dude, it all comes down to mindset. Like you said, it's having that how can I versus why me or why can't I mindset. It literally just all comes down to that thought process and instilling that. It's a habitual thought process. Like you said earlier, we're very habitual as humans. So you have to program your mind to think, how can I or so forth, instead of thinking, why me? Why can't I do this? Why do I have this this disability or whatever? So it's just basically just reversing the thought process and so forth and figuring out, again, how you can make whatever you want to do happen. There's always a way. That's one of the biggest things I've learned from Corey is there's always a way to achieve whatever you want to do, whether it be the smallest of things or on a large scale. There's always going to be a way. You just got to figure out how to do it. Maybe you have to, again, sacrifice some time or whatever, and so forth. But there's always going to be a way to achieve what you want to do in the gym, in life, and business. So yeah, mindset's so key in all aspects of life.
It cracks me up. People give me like 20 reasons why I shouldn't move to Indianapolis and 20 reasons why I shouldn't have a gym. I'm like, y'all are fucking retarded. All it takes is one of those reasons to ruin me. So you just wasted your breath for giving me the other 19 reasons. So like I'll laugh at these people who are trying to tell me you shouldn't do this because of this, 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 and this. Well, one reason that you gave me, one excuse you gave me would already ruin me. So I'm gonna go and just give you one excuse why I can win. And here's my excuse to why I can win. And I'll give the excuse, whatever it is. Like, I can win because I believe in myself. Which
Yeah,
falls right into not having self that I believe in myself.
comes
So all
down
you
to
need is
that
one.
negative positive mindset too. I mean, if you're a very positive person, you have a positive outlook, you're going to look at all the reasons why you can win. If you're a negative person and you have a super negative mindset, you're going to look at all the reasons why you can't win and why you're going to fail. So it comes
Quit
down
watching the news.
Exactly. Honestly, that makes a huge difference. I would say that would make a big difference in a lot of people's lives if they just cut down their news time in half. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
like put yourself around positive people. Talk to positive people. Like me and Jay talk to each other our phone calls are hilarious. Like, we don't even say hello or goodbye. Soon he calls or I call, we just start pitching
It's a
the
million
idea.
miles per hour too.
Like, so fast. Like, Joey was watching, because he's just with me so much now, my video guy. He's just like, what this happened during that phone call? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we got so much, but we're capitalizing on utilizing our time. We don't need to be on a fucking hour-long conference call. We're on a conference call for 4 minutes. Like, and it's like, Jay's like, Zach, I'm doing this, and you're doing this, and I'm like, yep, okay, and just click. It's just gone.
Yep.
We're done. And then, like, 2 hours later, we may try to call her back to follow up or something. So it's basically like I'm talking to positive people daily. I'm not talking to people who are going to waste my time. I'm not calling my friends like, hey man, what kind of bottle of alcohol did you drink this weekend? Like, I'm separating myself from that shit. I'm only talking to people who are positive, because every time, you're around negative people, imagine if you're a car, they're just throwing nails on your tire. They're slowing you down. They're slowing you down. They keep giving you flats. You keep getting out, change your tire.
Yeah, man. We're just naturally, I think, as humans, attracted to like the disaster type stuff and that negative, just energy. I think because, for example, when you're driving down the road, this was in a book that I read. I can't remember, maybe The Compound Effect, and he talked about if you're driving down the road and there's a ton of traffic on the freeway, it's likely because there was a wreck, but the wreck's already cleared up, but people are just rubbernecking to look at the wreck because they're attracted to that just disaster and negativity and so forth. But if you're driving down the road and there's clear blue skies or an awesome sunset, the traffic's going to be going normal. Everyone's going to be going 80 miles per hour, not paying attention. You know what I mean? People don't stop and look, and they're not attracted to the energy until it's negative or there's some sort of disaster going on. You know what I mean? That applies to life too.
100%. We love, as people, we love negative things. And I see that,
Chaos.
like, we love the chaos and the negative chaos. That's totally true. Just for instance, like watching The Bachelorette, like, it's drama, and like, I'm not even a drama person, but I watch, like, I'm attracted to the show. So it's just like, gosh, it's so gay when I talk about it, but it's true, man.
I love
So
it.
I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah, so
But we
again,
are.
you just gotta know that that's what we are habitually. That's what we're kind of wired to do. So you have to rewire your brain. It's a process too, just like anything else. Just like training in the gym, it's a process. You got to train your mind mentally. That's why I really like meditation, man. I know that's one of the Q&As we'll get into it in a bit, but meditation really helps me rewire my brain and think more positively and kind of have more perspective and so forth. So there's ways to rewire your brain in a way to allow you to see the positives and so forth. And it's a continual process, a day-to-day thing. You're always going to have to work on it. There's never going to be a day where it's like, okay, cool, I'm very positive now. I don't have to worry about it ever again. You know what I mean? I don't have to ever put the work in. Just like the gym. Like, there's never going to be a day where I'm like, okay, cool, I don't ever have to work out again. I'm to this point now. If I stop working out for a year, I'm going to lose most of my gains. And,
Word.
so it's a continual day-to-day grind.
That was a good analogy, dude. I've been positive for a week. I'm good for 2 months.
Yeah, I put enough work in.
How many people think like that, though? And just overall with the gym, though, they're like, yeah, I worked out all winter. I ain't going to work out in the summertime, or
Well,
vice versa.
that's how a lot of people think with a diet. That's why you see so many people lose a bunch of weight and then gain it all back because they don't realize that they're committed for the long haul now. They just see like, okay, I got to do this for 8 weeks or however long my coach is going to have me do this for, or however long I'm working with my coach, and then I'm good. I can go back to do whatever I'm doing. Then they gain all that fucking weight back. They never take the time to really establish those new lifestyle habits and so forth, and never really take the time to realize that they're playing the long game. You live in a really long life. If you're 20, 30, 40, however old you are, you still have a lot of time to live. And you just got to realize that you're playing the long game. I tell my clients that all the time. We're going to make really good progress over these 4, 8, 12, 16 weeks, however long you're going to work with me. But again, you're playing the long game, and you have to really realize that. You have to have that in your mind, because if you don't and you think, this is cool, I'm going to do this for 4 to 8 weeks, awesome, I'm down to my goal weight now, but now what? I'm just going to go back to doing what I was doing because I never really took the time to establish that into my head mentally and ingrain that.
Becomes a lifestyle. If you're a client searching coaching and you don't have the mental capacity built up yet to make it a lifestyle, you need to keep that coach. You need to keep spending that money for the coach and keep having someone on your ass.
Or else you're going to waste the initial investment. If you invest $200 for 4 weeks or 400 for however much you're charging for 4 to 8 weeks, if you put that money in and then you just go back on your own and you just basically just wash all the results out that you had, you just wasted all the money you put into it initially.
Just like putting all that money in a savings. You put a bunch of money in a savings account, and for 8 weeks you put $200 a week in a savings account, and then when the 8 weeks is over, you just go on a shopping spree.
Yeah,
you get fat, you lose all the money. You're like, oh, well, shit.
That's a good analogy. I like that. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, we're banging the analogies out today. So I might write a poem.
I love it. All right, let's get into the no bitch assness tip of the show. Zach, what you got?
Dude, I'm gonna talk about pin pulls because I did them this week and I got a lot of lot of heat, a lot of flack. So something
Oh, you
real
did?
quick off.
People were hating on it
Yeah,
or what?
dude, people always hate on me for whatever. Someone's talking shit on because I arch when I bench. Like the ignorance is bliss. You know, when people just don't know things, I feel like it's not even worth my argument anymore to even tell
Yeah.
people why I arch on my bench or why I do. Like if you're generally asking the question, I will answer the question. But if you're asking like an asshole, I tweeted last night. Imagine if everyone on social media said that talk the shit they did on social media to your face.
Can you imagine?
I'd be keeping the tooth fairy very busy. I'd be knocking motherfuckers' heads off. But so people were like, I had some negative flag. But anyways, when I'm doing with negativity, guys, I just want positive on my page, right? So
Mhm.
I'm doubt anybody on this is putting anything negative on my page. But if someone does, it's simple. The comment's deleted. I block you. I just don't want it on my page.
I
Like
like that.
I'm a positive person, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, you just don't want to. You don't want to own up to it. Whatever you may think, I don't give a fuck. Like it's my page. I want to breathe positivity. People are coming to me for positive. Like people the other day, I posted an inspirational video, a hype video about being not being tired, about just pushing past, pushing past those sticking points, just not allowing yourself to be tired, faking yourself out of being tired. And people are like, "Oh, I'm not tired. I'm exhausted." People are putting it on my Facebook. Guess what? Delete, block, delete, block. I ain't got
Yep.
time. Like, dude, people are coming. People are sharing this. People are liking this. They need this positive energy, and you're trying to like throw negative at it. Go watch Fox News. You want negative shit,
Yeah, man.
right?
If your post helps one person, then it served its purpose.
Exactly. So I just fucking block and delete that. Anyway, so on to the rack pool. Is a rack pool or a block pool? It's basically I try to go from 18 inches, which is right below my knee, 16, 18 inches, and that's my sticking point. A lot of you guys might be coming up on your deadlift and you're getting stuck about your knees. A few things could be going on. You probably have bad positioning. It's probably the first thing which people neglect to understand. But the second thing is more than likely, too, you have very weak lockout strength. You have a hard time squeezing your glutes, getting your hips to the bar. You might be hinging. So many things that go into it, but probably what's going on, you need to work on your lockout. So what you do, you set blocks up, probably like 8 to 10 inches plus the bar, everything adds up to about 18 inches, and you pull from a dead stop. I don't want to see you bouncing up and down. You pull the weight up, you lock it out, you set the weight back down, you reset, and you do another rep. So what's crazy is I pulled 585 for two, right? I pulled 585 off the ground conventional for 6. So
Wow.
I'm better off the ground. People are like, well, how are you better off the ground? Which is a very solid question. I'm better off the ground because I'm able to create more leg drive, more momentum through the lift, right? So basically, when I talk about bench pressing too, is your lockout really bad, or do you just push it very slow off your chest? There's a question. Like my lockout is not very good, but I can compensate to pull 600 for 12 reps sumo off the ground, and I can pull 700 off the ground, but I can't pull. My best is probably 635 off blocks, and it's a quarter of the distance. It's literally like 8 inches to lock it out. So it's something I diagnose my weaknesses. I know it's what I'm weak on. If I'm like, dude, if I can get my block pulls up to like 660, I'll pull 740 because I know I have that leg drive, that momentum off the ground. I think that coming from that comes from explosiveness. I do a lot of speed pulls. I jump a lot. You guys see me doing a lot of jumps and shit.
Jumping through fucking tires and shit.
Jumping through tires, jumping over cars, just like crazy shit. Stuff I like to do. So that's my no bitch tip of the show. Basically, it comes down to everything. See what you're not good at, assess your weaknesses, and capitalize on them. A lot of people don't want to do the things they're not good at. You need to. What makes someone great? I was watching this awesome video on Kyle Snyder. He's favored to win Olympics this year wrestling. He is. They talk about him being able to capitalize on his weaknesses. He doesn't just focus on his strengths. Like a lot of guys might be very strong, so that's all they just focus on being strong in wrestling. They neglect their cardio. Where he realizes what the things he's not good at, and he fucking hits them hard.
So he's
And
very
he
self
works on the
aware.
things to get very self-aware.
Self awareness is so key, man. But yeah, who the fuck wants to work on their weaknesses? It's not fun.
No, I don't like block
That's
pulling, especially
necessary.
especially when I'm pulling freaking 635 for 8 reps, and I'm pulling 2 reps off of blocks. People are like, oh man, and this happens all the time. Oh man, Humble, you got weak. And I'm like, motherfucker, I didn't get weak. I'm trying to get better.
Yeah. Yeah, so you gotta
So
let your
yeah,
ego, you kind of gotta push your ego out of the way too. It goes along with that.
I tell that guys when you walk in the gym, raise your expectations and leave your ego at the door
Hmm.
to everybody.
I think that kind of goes along with something I've been working on lately is comparing yourself to yourself and pushing and basically competing against yourself, which you talk about all the time, and not trying to compete against anyone else and judging yourself versus anyone else. I think that's where people really get into trouble. And that, again, that's something I've really been working on because I'm always judging myself versus other people. and so forth. And that's when you really get into trouble and you lose perspective. Whereas you should be looking like, how far have I come in the last 6 months? How far have I come in the last 12 months? How much have I improved? And that's when you really get that positivity. You're like, man, I've really, really improved. I've changed so much. I put a ton of work in. Whereas if you're judging yourself against someone else in the gym where they might be still stronger than you or look bigger than you or whatever, you're gonna have that negative energy and you're gonna kind of be down on yourself. Whereas you should be positive and realize how far you've come and how much work you've put in.
Yeah, a lot of people forget it. They forget where they came. Just guys, think about the progress you made. Like you're doing very good. Just keep it up.
Yeah, and
Just keep pushing.
and
Keep
if you have
pushing.
that, if you're very negative and you're judging yourself against others, you're not likely to continue to put the work in because you're going to feel so bad about yourself. Whereas if you have that positive energy and you're thinking about how far you've come, you're likely to continue to put the work in and continue to put more work in because you've already seen the results. So I think it's really key.
Yeah, you're gonna create that aura. Like you can tell when a guy's like uber confident when you're around someone. Like, dude, that guy's got a lot of confidence. Like I feel better when I'm around him. Like he distills that confidence in me. Like I want to be that confident. It comes down to like basically, beating yourself, being better than yourself, and loving yourself for who you are, and knowing that you can eventually progress and get to that level you want to be at. Mm-hmm. But Jay, let's bounce back. What is your no bitch assness tip of the show?
All right, so my no bitch assness tip of the show, something I tweeted out this morning, something I'm gonna put on Instagram here in a bit, and something I've really been exposed to through Zach. I've been exposed to in the past, but Zach's really shined a light on it. Is that it's less about the number of reps you're doing, the number of sets you're doing, the type of lifts you're doing. Obviously, all that stuff matters. But for the basic building blocks, it's all about the quality of the reps that you're doing. You can get an awesome workout by doing lightweight without that many reps, by just really squeezing. Say you're doing you're doing seated rows. You can get a really good workout by doing like 5 to 10 reps with light weight by just squeezing the fuck out of each rep at the top and really stretching at the bottom. So I think people, again, this comes back to the ego thing. People let their ego get in the way and they want to go in the gym and start throwing weight around, and their form's garbage. It just drop the weight, let your ego, push that out of the way, let your ego go, and just focus on the form. Maybe go on YouTube, watch some reputable people and figure out exactly how to do the movements, and then take the time to do it yourself and get that muscle to mind connection, mind to muscle connection, and so forth. And you're going to get, like Zach and I were talking about this before the show, you're going to get way better of a workout in, you're going to get more of a pump, and the muscle is going to look a lot better too. I feel like you're going to get much more aesthetically pleasing muscles and a lot more consistency throughout the body and throughout the muscles, how they run together, if you're doing quality reps and really focusing on correct form. Whereas with just the heavy weight, you're not really getting anywhere. You're spinning your wheels.
Dude, absolutely. How many guys, like I see a couple bodybuilders in my gym, they go in there and there's like, their program calls for 20, 20, 20 on seated rows, 15, 10, then a burnout. Mm-hmm. And they're done with it in like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, how quality was your reps? You had to do fucking 300 reps and your quality could have been there. Like I'm watching you go and you're not even using the mind to muscle connection. Like Arnold talks so much about it, making sure you're squeezing on it, especially if you're a bodybuilder guy. But even as a powerlifter, I'm honing in on my form every single rep. I'm perfecting my form.
Exactly. That's something, again, that you've really shined a light on for me. I mean, I've always been all about the form, but not necessarily. Like over the last 6 months to a year, I've become way more of a tactician, and I've wanted to learn more and more about correct form. Being around you and reading some stuff on Arnold, it's really motivated me to start dropping the weight and just really focus on the form. And I mean, the results speak for themselves. I've gotten I feel like my muscles have grown a lot more, and I've gotten a lot stronger focusing on form. Whereas before I was just kind of throwing weight around, and I was kind of spinning my wheels to a point. I was making progress, making gains, but they weren't to the point they are now. So I think it's very beneficial to just go slower, focus on the form, drop the weight, and especially on body weight stuff. I feel like people on body weight stuff, they really think that they can just skip the form.
Pull-ups, dips. Remember, we were talking a bunch about pull-ups, the quality of how quality a 6-rep pull-up. But you did it. So we have some content coming out, actually. Jay was talking about doing pull-ups. He's like, dude, my back is fucking blown from 6 reps. And guys are like, oh, I went to the gym, I can do 30 straight pull-ups. But Jay's 6 reps is more, he got more of a pump and grew more from his 6 reps than you did from your 30.
That was what my video, actually. My video this morning was push-ups and pull-ups. And yeah, man.
I like EP. What's that called? Like I'm a psychic or whatever.
Yeah, we got a nice mental link going here. 7 episodes in, we're really starting to think like each other.
Honing in on it.
Yeah, so I did I do 8 to 12 reps usually in my pull-ups, just really slow. I get a nice squeeze at the top, pause almost, and then go slow on the way down. Whereas most people, they'll use the momentum to fly up, and then they won't really use any kind of tightness or muscle tension on the way down. So they lose half the lift right there. 50% of the lift's gone because they're just letting it fly down. Same thing on deadlifts. People will just drop the weight or whatever, and that's 50% of the lift. So I think back to the body weight stuff, though, people really kind of just let it go a lot on the body weight stuff for some reason, push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and just let it fly. Whereas really key in, doesn't matter the reps you're doing, it's all about the quality of reps. And you're going to get a much more of a pump, and just the quality of your workout's going to be a hell of a lot better.
I love it. Fucking knowledge bombs, guys. Love it, love it. Jay, you want to go ahead and get the questions? You got some cues for us?
Yeah, and again, as we always say, we appreciate everyone that's dropping questions and so forth. So
we love the engagement. It's awesome, guys. We love connecting with everybody. It's just a cool way too to answer questions. I know Jay and I both do Q&As all the time, but to actually blast you guys on the show, give you guys some recognition. The show's only going to grow. Now it's going to be not before too long. You guys will have about 60,000 people, a couple million people reading your question, listening to your question. So it's going to be cool.
You guys are going to be the OGs.
The OGs. Love it.
All right. So Cody Cardenas, he asks, this is a more specific question. He asked the best way to get started with meditation. So I'll hit this real quick.
That's Jay.
Yeah, there's an app that I've been using. The guy that started the app was actually on a podcast on Lewis Howes' School of Greatness podcast. And I signed up for the site right after this. And I've used it before. They have like a free 10-day course, but it's called Headspace. And again, they have a whole free 10-day thing where it's 10 minutes a day. So go on there and sign up for the free 10 days. Try it out. See what you think. And then it's like a $14 a month membership or whatever. And you have access to a ton of different programs. But basically, he just walks you through each 10 minutes. And you just sit there, or you can lay down, dark room, headphones in, and you just follow along. And it's a lot of breathing exercises and all that kind of stuff. But it's really easy. I think there's a couple other apps too where it's just guided meditation and you just pay a certain amount every month and it just walks you through it. And then once you get more advanced, you can start doing your own type of meditation and stuff. I feel like it's a good way to start though. And maybe down the road I'll start branching out and trying to do my own. But it just gets my mind focused. It's crazy, man. When I'm meditating, I have like flashbacks and memories that I haven't had in so long. Like I'll remember just super specific details on something I did 5 years ago or whatever. And I get done meditating too. My mind's ultra clear and I'm very positive. So there's a lot of benefits for me. It's not for everyone, just like everything else. I'm not saying everyone needs to meditate, but for me, it's been very, very beneficial. And the app makes it a really easy and fun way to do it. So, and also YouTube, there's a ton of guided meditations on YouTube. So I won't really speak much more in depth on that, but it's been very beneficial for me. So anyone out there that wants to try it, check out Headspace. It's an app on iTunes. Dope.
I think meditation could be huge. I think it could help me out too some with my chaos daily. I'm not even gonna lie and say I meditate because I've literally never meditated.
Yeah.
I think a lot when I'm taking a shit. I don't think that's meditation. But yeah, not even to be funny, I guess no more. But yeah, that's something I should probably jump into to help clear my head. Jay talks very highly of it, and I know it's something that's actually growing a ton. I think it's growing a ton because we live in this fucking chaos of a world.
Mm-hmm. There's so much stimulus just every single day throughout on TV while you're driving. There's fucking cars everywhere, people talking to you, and social media. It's like your mind's just fucking just all over the place all the time.
Yeah, definitely not. It's not the slower things like down south. They always down south that things move slower. They talk about all the time.
It really does, dude. There's like studies that show how fast you talk is basically directly correlated, on average, directly correlated with how many people you live around. So like if you live in a big city, you're going to talk faster. If you live in a very sparse country area, you're likely to speak slower and walk slower, I think, too, is kind of how the study goes. But it's very interesting how all that works. But
that's kind of crazy.
Moving on here.
Yeah, let's move on.
Colin Payne, he asks, this one's for you, Zach. Zach, how do you get those thick-ass lats?
Thick-ass lats, you want a big bag, dude. Bend over rows. I want you to do sets of like 10,
wide grip,
12
close
reps.
Grip.
So I'm going to start like with a normal double overhand, bend over rows. About where my arms like a 90 degree, come up. My triceps come up against my lats. So I'm gonna do a few sets that way. Then I'm gonna flop my grip over and do double underhand. So when you're doing the overhand for the bent over rows, though, let's make sure we're actually getting a few good quality sets in. We're not moving a lot, like you're staying real strict. Then I want you to throw some heavy fucking weight on, where you have to actually rock yourself a good bit. People at the gym are gonna tell you you're doing them wrong. You tell them they're a fucking asshole. And you're doing them how you're supposed to be doing them, and you're gonna build that. That's what's overloading the muscle.
Yeah.
And you overload, you're gonna help build that thickness too. So do that. That's gonna help build some thick lats. Build a little bit wider. I like to do pull-ups. Not so much thickness there, but always make sure you're throwing the pull-ups in. And I do almost. It's coming down to almost daily. I do between 5 and 6 sets of seated rows.
I've been adamant a lot more too since you recommended that, and I can already tell my upper back is getting way fucking thicker, bro.
Way thicker, and it also like the human body from all the pushing we do, you have to see like posture goes bad, it starts to roll over. So I do it to pull my posture. Like when you're doing all the pulls, you're actually pulling your body back into position.
Same thing
Literally, I
with
don't
the
know.
hamstrings too. Like you talk about hamstrings all the time, posterior chain. Use your
Yep.
quads all the time. You got to balance it.
Balance it out, man. And I don't know if it's even a real study or not. Like doing more pulls is going to help because I know you're supposed to do double the pulls and pushes. But literally, the seated rows, guys, has helped my posture. There's no scientific study on it that I know of, but I'm fucking telling you right now, I do it. And I've had numerous people do it, and their posture's been 10 times better.
Yeah, it's starting to help my squat too because I think it was Showman that said this. When you come out of the hole, if your chest goes forward, it's likely your upper back's not strong enough. So I've really been hammering those, and I've been hitting the bent over rows, like you said. And I'm already starting to notice a difference. And on my deadlifts too, I'm sure having a strong upper back is key. So it's starting to correlate to everything. It's starting to
For
really
sure.
help out. So
Do strong back, strong body.
exactly. How about that back? All right. Colin asks also when I do my cable crunches. So I've been slacking on the cable crunches. I'm going to be honest. I need to do them more often. I've been hammering weighted crunches, ab wheels, reverse crunches, and toes to bar every now and then as well. Those are the things I can do at night, though, when I'm sitting there and watching some YouTube or knocking out some work or whatever in the living room. Cable crunches, though, if I do them, it'll usually be at the end of my workout. So usually when I do my accessory work, so if I'm doing some glute ham raises, some reverse hypers, some back extensions, whatever, I'll throw in the cable crunches and just knock out. I usually go pretty heavy on them. I usually keep it between 8 to 15 reps. And again, right at the end of the workout, and a couple tips on those real quick is make sure you get a really good stretch at the top. So basically let your hands go all the way out and stretch your arms, and you're going to feel stretch through your lats and your upper abs. And then at the bottom, really squeeze and contract, and you'll feel the mid and upper abs really, really contracting. And I see people doing the cable crunches incorrectly all the time. I need to do a video on that. Correct form. Maybe I'll do that next time I'm at Iron Valley with Content Joey.
Let's go.
So at the end of the workout's the best time for the cable crunches, and they're key. I need to do them more often. I'm glad that he called me out on that kind of in a sense. I'm gonna start adding them in more.
Hell yes, dude. I'm pumped. So I got the Zach Homol Power site. Switched up a little bit. Got a new web guy for it. So we're pushing. Hopefully by September 1st, the site will be done by. And I'm going to go over literally every single movement in the gym is going to be on the site. All the specialty movements is explaining how to do things correctly. Because people think they're doing stuff right, but they're not. So everything's going to be so in depth.
I'll be the fucking first member on that site, baby.
Hell yes. So I'll definitely be referring, all this stuff to there to really figure out. It's going to be $9 a month, basically same as Corey's, $9 a month.
So cheap, bro. So reasonable for the amount of knowledge. Zach, I say this all the time. I honestly think Zach is the most knowledgeable guy in the fitness industry at 24 years old, which is absolutely insane to say. But he's put so much time in. Just being around you, man, it's crazy. Like, I feel like sometimes like my first day in the gym on certain movements, I'm like, fuck, man, and so forth. So $9 a month for this dude's knowledge is absolutely just so cheap. So definitely get on that as soon as the site's out. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, I'm pumped about it. It's going to be really awesome.
There's going to be so many gains had by the members of that site.
Dude, that's it. Just to be able to reach out. Like my goal was to help enhance the world, and I'm realizing that I can only enhance so many people through my one-on-one training because I have to charge more because it's acquiring more of my time. But if I can become more of like a master trainer, quote unquote, I can really hit more width. I can hit more people in the world at $9 a month, and being that it's so cheap, it's still plenty worth my time. With given the quantities there, which it'll eventually happen, it'll be there. It'll be just really cool to be able to, connect with everybody on the level. We'll have Q&A, so people ask questions. I answer them on the site. So many things coming, but I'll keep talking about that as the podcast continue.
Super stoked about that. All right, Dylan, he asks, you are both in the grind in the mud as entrepreneurs right now. What is your biggest struggle as a young entrepreneur?
This is a tough question, Dylan. Like, I was thinking about this all morning because I just focus so much on the positives to where I feel like I can't say this is official because everyone has things that are tough, but I try to tell myself it's all rainbows and butterflies. I try to make it out that way. Even when shit does hit the fan, I try to keep progressing. But my biggest struggle is probably going to be making sure, how should I word this? Guys, let me try to say this correctly. My biggest struggle is knowing if I'm going to have food, if I'm going to have money to eat food next month, if I'm going to be able to live next month. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you just don't know. Mm-hmm. Literally, shit hit the fan. Like, I'm doing well in my personal training. All my businesses are growing. They're successful. I'm making money. But at the end of the day, if people don't buy, I don't eat.
It feels like at any time they could all disappear. I feel like a lot of high level. Yeah.
There's no security whatsoever in my job. None. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like something growing up in a blue collar world, growing up in a blue collar area, we knew somewhat security. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if you got laid off from your job, you still filed
You knew that
unemployment,
paycheck
whatever.
was
But
coming.
9 times out of 10, you knew a paycheck was coming every Friday or every other Friday. And now I'm kind of like breaking the mold, quote unquote. Even with my family, I have no other entrepreneurs in my family. I'm the first. I'm the first one to do anything besides roofing or coal mining. Like literally, everyone's just either roof or coal mine. So now that I'm kind of breaking the mold, it's a little bit. That's probably my biggest struggle is knowing if I'm going to eat next, or maybe just dealing with the process, like dealing with it, because I am able every week I keep profiting more and more, but it's just be able to deal with that pressure almost, and I like it. More pressure, the pressure builds diamonds.
Yep.
So I enjoy that. I enjoy the chaos. I enjoy the pressure. But that's definitely that's been since day one my biggest fear, my biggest worry, quote unquote, is am I actually going to make it? It's
Mm-hmm.
not like I don't give a shit if everyone in the world, oh, I told you couldn't make it. Like fuck you, muff. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and I've been making it 2 years. That's longer than what you guys did. I've been living the life I want to live for the last 2 years. So that's an achievement in its own. And
Yeah, man.
just trying is an achievement
We're
in its
living the
own,
dream
guys. So
every
don't
day.
worry. Yeah, don't worry about what people are saying about you. Just trying is an achievement here. You've already won if you've tried. You've done more than 90% of the world,
Yeah, if you're
ninety-five
doing
percent
it,
of the
man,
world, just from
that's
trying.
so
So,
key.
and there's going to be worries. There's going to be fears. Like, dude, I still think about stuff all the time. Like, oh, am I doing this right? Like, especially like taxes and different things. Like, obviously, I subcontract that out. Like, I have people do my taxes, but you still worry. Like, am I going to get caught up? Or like, I know my lease is up in a year. Like, am I going to be able to renew my lease? Am I going to have enough business credit build up to renew my lease? Or is the gym just going to go away because
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be struggling to find a place to open the gym? Like, these are just things I think about that do come. So there are fears, but you just go anyways, man. And you just at the end of the day, as long as you're a gamer, you're a baller, you're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, and like the large grand scheme of things, man, just keeping perspective. Like as long as you're healthy, as long as your family's healthy, even if the business goes under, even if you go fucking dead broke, things are still gonna be good. You know what I mean? You're still alive, keeping the grand
Yeah,
perspective. But I'm a very similar man. I feel like a lot of high level entrepreneurs talk about that. Even people that have made it. I've heard on podcasts. I don't remember exactly who, but they're like, I still feel like it could go away at any time. You know what I mean? People talk about that. Even when people that have millions and millions of dollars and have been killing it for so long, they still have that gut feeling where it's like, man, at any day this could all go away. So I'm very similar in that regard, especially with building a house, all the money that's going into building this house and stuff, and being so new into being an entrepreneur. I have those thoughts as well. Like, man, what if I don't make enough money this month, or what if everything just falls off completely and I get zero clients this month? Like worst case scenario sometimes. And as growing up, I was always had a really negative mindset. So again, it's a day to day process of rewiring and thinking of the positives and so forth. But yeah, man, it's just the constant just thinking about like what if this happens or what if that happens, but still going forth with it. I think that's a huge key. Is you may still have those fears, but just saying fuck it and just continuing to push forward. So that's one of my things. Another one is overthinking. I've always overthought basically everything. I'm one of those people that we talked about, the decision fatigue. I'm always thinking about this option and that option. Like, what if I pick this one and that's the wrong thing? And what if I should have picked that? So overthinking stuff, that's something I struggle with. I'm trying to continue to improve on. And also just like, even something as simple as being on camera, man. I had such social anxiety growing up. Like I hated even speaking in front of classes. I hated speaking to people in general. So that's something I've been continually improving on as my confidence has grown and so forth. And as my knowledge base has improved, I've really gotten a lot more comfortable, but it's still a continual process of getting more comfortable on camera and improving my skill set. And even being on this podcast, man, like literally a year, 2, 3 years ago, I could have never imagined myself being on a podcast and talking because I hated to speak so much because my social anxiety was so strong. I think this is really important to talk about because I think a lot of people struggle with that as they have a lack of
absolutely, yeah.
confidence and so forth. So kind of relatable. So yeah, man, just always continually progressing and being self-aware enough to know what you struggle with and what your weaknesses are, and kind of improving on them. But then again, focusing on your strengths a lot more than your weaknesses too. So it's a happy medium, just like anything else. But yeah, there's always going to be things you struggle with and you have to get better at, and so forth. And I think the whole fear thing's huge. There's always going to be fear there. There's always going to be things you're going to worry about, but you just have to say fuck it, go forward with it, and push through them, and just see what happens.
And dude, that really helps fuel me. Like that, I'm fueled by that fear. I think you're going to do better with the fear, having that pressure. Like when you put yourself in the dark and you're afraid of the dark, you have to learn to not be afraid of the dark. Like you have to program yourself, hey, I'm not afraid of the dark. So when you throw yourself out there in the world of the entrepreneur world and Holy shit, taking a cat again, dude. In every episode, he pulls a cat out right before my punchline. So it's like you gotta, yeah, where was I?
My bad.
You gotta have a fucking cat, dude. Dude, like these cats, I think I'm gonna be like stray cats running on his farm or something, but these cats. So basically, yeah, you're gonna have fear, man. It's shit's gonna get tough, but it's just going anyways.
Yeah, you were talking about having fear drive you and like never being comfortable.
Yeah.
If you're always on edge and you always have that feeling in the back of your head, like fuck, I could lose everything. You're gonna work way harder.
You're gonna wake way harder. You get up early. Like having that fear in me, that's what wakes me up at fucking 3:45 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Having that fear is what keeps me working until 9 and 10 at night. Now check this out, guys. I'll let you just in on a little bit, like because I'm not balling out on a major level at whatsoever. Am I doing well? Yes. Am I living comfortable? Yes. I'm doing what I love, which is trumps everything. Even if I was making a minimum wage and be able to survive, I'm doing what I love, so it's cool. But I remember going weeks without making $1. And then I started setting goals for myself. I'll make this much money. So it's like, but then a day comes where I'm making $500 in a day. I'm like, oh, I see now. It might only be one day here and there. But I remember making $500 in a coal mine thinking, holy shit, this is like some crazy money, right? Dude, there was a day where I made $2,500. And I'm like, holy shit, Zach. I seen that next level. Like, I can get here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it ain't every fucking day. Like, the gym dues came out. So much stuff. I had to pay it all out in bills and taxes anyways. But whatever. Like, I seen that I was capable of doing it in a day. And even though the money actually wasn't physically mine, like I could go ball out on, like it all went out. It was all electronic money, basically, right? And it went out in the world. But I'm like, it gave me that confidence. Like, Zach, you can do this shit, bro. Like, you've been telling yourself you can, and no one else is seeing it, not even yourself yet. But you keep applying this, this 3 a.m. to 12 o'clock at night grind, and look what's just happened. Like, you did it. So I strive for that every single day.
You got exposed to it, man. You got a taste of it. It's like getting a taste of the sugar. You're fucking hooked now.
Yeah, you're hooked. It went a while. It was a long time before it hit. But once it hit, it felt really good. It felt really good to sit like a $500 day. I thought that was really awesome. Man, I had which is a fucking lot of money for one day. And like I said, like when you're an entrepreneur though, guys, like I'm talking about these numbers. Don't this is like I'm glorified this, even though it's on a small scale of a real entrepreneur. Like we're actually killing and making millions or hundreds of thousands. It's a small scale of things, but like the money, don't think of it as like a paycheck because it's not my money. Even if it's my money, like I got to pay bills here, and you got to grow your business. Like everything the gym's made has gone back into the gym. Yes, the gym is profiting; it's doing very well. I don't collect none of that money every single month. You're gonna see another $2,000 put back into the gym. You know what I mean? I'm a higher content guy. Like my website, like I might have so many members. Like, oh look, Zach has 1,000 members. He's making X amount of dollars. But okay, now take taxes out. Now I pay a content guy. Now I got to pay for new cameras. Like you take it all out. Like I'm not playing that immediate gratification game. I'm playing that long ball game.
Yeah, exactly, man. That whole paycheck to paycheck thing, even if you're an entrepreneur, you could still live that way whenever you have it seems like as an entrepreneur, so far, like it seems like things come in waves. Like you'll make a shitload of money one day or 1 week, and then it kind of goes, yeah, and then you go a week or two and you're like, oh God, what's going to happen here if I don't start making some more money? And then you'll get a huge wave comes through again. Yeah, man, if you're always spending what comes in, I've talked about this before. It's that employee mindset. Oh, I get paid this Friday. I'm going to go out and spend it all. I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to buy a fucking TV. And then you're broke until you get that next paycheck again. As an entrepreneur, you can't do that because you don't know if and when that next paycheck is going to come. So you have to really reinvest, like you said, and put money away, especially getting started up. We've talked about this before. We're both making more money than we really ever have, and we're both spending less than we ever really have too. And it's just continually putting it away and playing the long game and basically instilling that delayed gratification in yourself and knowing that you're going to win long term. Whether it be a few years, whether it be a few months, a few years, or whatever, you're going to win eventually.
You're fucking right, dude. So I just checked this, like I was on my Facebook, this little change of subject here, and I benched 405 2 years ago today. I remember I was on bench every day program at the time, and I had missed 405 60 some days in a row. Like I literally attempted it, which is stupid. Like it wasn't as smart. I should change my programming a little bit. Even though 405 it got me from a 335 to 405 bench every day did. But regardless, I missed it that many days in a row that I eventually hit it. But 2 years ago, I hit 405 bench, and I was ecstatic. Like that was such a milestone for me. And 2 years later, I've benched was I think I hit 405 for 5 is my best now, which is cool to see that progression. But it's slow and steady progression. I have benched 465. I've benched 440 in competition. That's only 35 pounds in 2 years. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, how many guys in my weight class are benching what I'm benching? Not many. But when you see that, it's just like I wasn't looking for 500 the next day, but that's what I have my mindset on. And it might be another 2 years. It might have been 4 years to gain 100 pounds. But the thing was, I was willing to put in the work for that 4 years, and you wasn't.
That's what I love about the gym so much, man.
Fucking love the
It
gym, dude.
teaches
It teaches
you
you life.
how to really enjoy that delayed gratification. Like, especially when you're starting out, you're going to really see results pretty quickly. You're going to start putting on muscle pretty rapidly. But once you establish a nice base, it's going to take a while to really start adding the muscle on. People, when they're talking about bulking, have such unrealistic expectations. I'm going to put 10, 15 pounds of muscle on during my bulk phase, the 6 months. Like, if you're putting, you know what I mean? If you're putting five pounds of muscle on each year, once you have an established base of muscle, that's pretty impressive. 5 to 10 pounds. I mean, if you put 10 pounds of pure muscle on in a year, that's legit. So people have a skewed perspective, but the gym really teaches you that delayed gratification and that love for it. You just got to grind every single day, and you might not see the results for a few months or even a year down the road.
Years.
Years, like you just said. So it really teaches you to really thrive in that delayed gratification, and it instills it in you, and it really spills over to everything else in life too.
Dude, that's a fucking great way to end a podcast. Drop mic, boom, it's over. Guys, my man, check me out, Zach Homol Power, all social media. Jay, what's your plug-in?
JAY_Azeltine.
No, it's not spelled out. It's actual underscore. It's not spelled out like it is my phone.
So,
guys, this
Snapchat.
is awesome. I love talking to you guys. It's great. Is the same on? Sorry, Jay. Same on Snapchat?
No, you're good. It's on everything. But before you end the podcast here, subscribe to us on iTunes. And something we've really been trying to build up, because this will make us move up the charts on the iTunes, is go on there if you like the podcast. If you don't, then you can give us a 1-star review if you don't like it.
If you don't like the podcast, don't listen.
That too. Give us an honest review.
If you listen to the podcast, 5-star rating, honest review. Honest review, we're ballers. Put that down.
Exactly. So review on iTunes. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like Zach said, we're going to be busting out a shitload of content on the Young and Hungry FireCast YouTube page. Stay tuned for that.
So we already have a few things on there. We have the lunge episode on there. We did knock off lunge and learn. And that's
Zach dropped bombs on that episode.
Bombs. I'm bringing the heat, guys. Well, I had a good guy interviewed me, Jay. He was interviewed. So, I mean, really as good as your interviewer, right? So,
exactly.
That was really awesome. So don't forget to swing over to the Young and Hungry FireCast. Check that out. We'll link it on Twitter, Snapchat. We will throw it on Instagram here and there. But guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm having a blast.
All right, stay young, stay hungry, stay grinding. Catch you later, Zach.
Let's go. See you guys.